Hey, how's it going, guys? Beautiful day here in Alaska. We're going to get right into the standings here. We're going to start off with the East. We got Orlando and Birmingham. They are sitting pretty at 3-0, the only two undefeated teams remaining in the AAF. And then you have the only two teams that have yet to win a game, with Memphis and Atlanta sitting at 0-3. So we'll see what happens here. But right now, Orlando and Birmingham, they've got a stranglehold on the Eastern Division. With the Western Division, you've got a little bit tighter race here. You've got San Diego and Arizona at 2-1 apiece, and then Salt Lake and San Antonio at 1-2 apiece. But it's going to be a tighter race, it looks like, so far in the Western Division. So I see that as being a fun race to watch and see who's going to end up on top there and who the top two are going to end up being. All right, so we're going to get into power rankings. For power rankings, I kind of like themed power rankings instead of just giving you like, this is why this team should be here and this is this and blah, blah, blah. I can get into that. That's not a problem. But I kind of like themed power rankings. So I went with theme. I'm a big Godzilla movie nerd myself. So I went with the Godzilla movie monster themes. So we're going to kick it off here. Starting with number 1 in my power rankings, you've got Godzilla. He can take a beating, keeps moving forward. Yeah, you might slow him down a little bit, but he's going to get back up. He's going to come back at you. He's not flashy, super strong on the ground, brutal attack, and he just keeps coming, keeps grinding, and seems to always pull out that victory. That's got to go to the Iron. I'm a big defensive football guy. Iron seem to have a top-notch red zone defense. And when their back's against the wall, man, they pull it out and they just step up and they are good to go. Number 2, I have the Apollos sitting at number 2, and I got them at King Kong. The reason for them being at King Kong, he might not be the most powerful, but he's probably the smartest monster, and you've got to give that to the old ball coach. I think he's probably one of the smartest coaches in the league. He knows how to roll with the punches. He's been around this stuff for a long time, knows what's happening. They're powerful. They can score points in the air. They can score points on the ground. They're able to adapt to different situations. I mean, you've got, they were having trouble connecting on passes, and Gilbert, man, he just runs one in for 6. I mean, he's able to adapt, smart. And the other thing is, I mean, these two teams, number 1 and number 2, the Iron and the Apollos, they're heading towards a showdown. And everybody's excited to see that. Just like in the cinematic universe, those two are heading towards a showdown here coming up next year. So next week it should be interesting to see those two go after each other. Number 3, this is going to surprise a lot of people with my number 3 pick. But I've got the Fleet at number 3, and I got them at King Ghidorah here. So King Ghidorah, he's the 3-headed monster. He's got a good ground attack. He's got a good air attack. And he's got a pretty damn impressive defense. You know, they can throw the ball. Nelson was slinging that ball around all last week, doing a great job. And then you've got Gardner, and he's starting to churn out some yards. That offense is starting to click. That defense is starting to come together, and they're able to play at a high, intense level. They look like one of the most complete teams. I got them at number 3. Yeah, I just see them being one of the better teams. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with the Stallions at number 4. And hear me out on this. I got them at Mechagodzilla. They got an amazing defense. Offense, pretty powerful in spurts. They can move the ball. You've got Woodrum throwing the ball to Pearsonell, who's making the most out of every opportunity he gets the ball thrown his way. 8 of 8 for 90 yards in their last game. Great stats with a touchdown, 2-point conversion, helping the team out. They took Godzilla to the brink. Mechagodzilla took Godzilla to the brink of being defeated. And the only reason he failed to defeat Godzilla was catastrophic failure, the turnovers, the lack of a passing game, the lack of an offense that game. But it wasn't really anything due to Godzilla just being that much better. It ended up being that the Stallions or Mechagodzilla just made enough mistakes and had a catastrophic failure that ended up getting him beat. All right, moving on. We got number 5. We got Gigan. He looks impressive. Deals a lot of damage with a high-powered offensive arsenal, but that defense is weak. And his defense's weakness, and so is his ego. Thinks he's just all that, going to be the best, going to be the top, do the most damage, sitting pretty. Everyone thinks we're great, amazing, wonderful. I think you know who I'm talking about here. I got the hot shots. But yeah, number 5, I've got the hot shots right now. And the only reason I have them at number 5 is because they've won 2 games and they beat the Stallions, in week 1, but the Stallions exposed them in week 3. Stallions are a tough team. The hot shots, they're kind of lost right now. They got to figure out where they are, what they are, and get back to that kind of football before I see them getting any better. Okay, number 6, I've got the Commanders. And I've got them as the 1998 American Godzilla movie monster. You guys are going to like this. They started out impressive. They won a game against the Fleet. Everybody was high on them. Like, hey, yeah, they looked good. Even in the second week, oh, man, they went against the Apollo, who looked really amazing. And they held their own. They scored a bunch of points. They're going to be so good. And then, you had all that excitement around them. People came to watch them. They've got the highest attendance in the league. Its very first victim in the movie was a large ship. I mean, they took the Fleet down. That was their first movie. And then you see it's a creature of habit. And all of a sudden, due to that, being a creature of habit, you're able to strategize against it, and then it ends up getting taken down by who? Oh, the Navy. Oh, amazing. It's like this movie in 1998 was written for this team for the first 3 weeks of this season. I mean, seriously, Mike Riley is a creature of habit. When he gets down on the scoreboard, what's he going to do? Abandon the run. And then what happens? You can pretty much guarantee that he's going to put his quarterback in a position to make mistakes and look bad and lose confidence in his own abilities. So that's why I've got the Commanders here, number 6, as the American Godzilla monster from 1998. Okay, that brings us to the Express. They're one of the oldest monsters in the universe. Rodan. Super fast offense. These guys can move the ball up and down the field. You've seen it happen. They're capable of dealing a few blows, but ultimately has little to defend itself with. I mean, they're giving up points. That defense is also not just Hackenberg, but that defense is allowing points. They're giving up big plays. They commit to one aspect of the game, and then they leave the other aspect of the game wide open, i.e., Gilbert running in a long touchdown run. But the second variation of this monster, when he came back out in the 90s, was a lot more powerful. And I see that happening with Mettenberger coming in. I see they're going to be more powerful. They're going to have more weapons. They're going to have a stronger attack. We'll see what that defense can do. Maybe it's just that the defense wasn't off the field enough. They were tired because Hackenberg's throwing all these interceptions, turning the ball over, so your defense is always going back out there on the field. No time for adjustments. Just get out there and, we got to bail our guys out again. So that's why I've got them at number 7 as Rodan. And finally, we've got the Legends at number 8. Clearly the worst team in the league at the moment. I've got them at Manila or Baby Godzilla or Godzilla Jr., whatever you want to call it. Offense for this monster is he blows smoke rings. I mean, the offense for the Legends is a smoke screen. Basically, hey, look, we can move the ball, we can move the ball, we can move the ball. We can't finish a drive. We cannot punch it in the end zone. So for all the flash that they have, putting up 343 yards on the Iron defense in passing. Yeah, Sims moved the ball, but in the end, yeah, you can put up 1,000 yards in a game, but if you can't score any points, who cares? Yeah, you move the ball all over the place, but to no avail. Did nothing. Their defense is basically non-existent. I mean, let's face it. At some point, that defense is going to fall apart. They're either going to get tired in the fourth quarter because their conditioning isn't good. I don't know what's going on with them, but they just no defense. They basically rely on other people, other monsters to protect them, i.e. the refs coming in to save them on a penalty so that a touchdown doesn't stand or something else is going on. But they're basically just there to round out the rest of the cast, which is kind of where they're at. They're lost. They have not figured this out yet. I hope for the sake of the league they do. You don't want to see an 0-for team, especially in the very beginning of a league, because it would just kill the league. To have that, you got to have buzz, you got to have excitement, and if you have a team go 0-10, you're not going to have a fan base for that team because nobody wants to back a loser, and we are a society of what have you done for me lately? And Manila, Baby Godzilla, you ain't done nothing. So week 4, games coming up week 4. You've got San Diego taking on Memphis in Tennessee. Then you've got Orlando taking on Salt Lake City, and that's going to take place in Salt Lake City, Utah. You got San Antonio against Birmingham, and that's in Birmingham. And then you've got Atlanta traveling west to take on Arizona. My picks for this week, honestly, Arizona, they get back on track. They move up to 3-1. It's Atlanta. I mean, unless some crazy thing happens or Arizona's quarterback can't come back, even if that doesn't happen, I honestly don't see Atlanta having the guns to take down Arizona, especially on the road. I just don't. Birmingham, I think Birmingham is going to do exactly what they did to Atlanta to San Antonio. They're just going to pound that rock right down that defense, and they're just going to score points, and San Antonio is not going to be able to. I just don't see San Antonio having the weapons, the firepower, and being able to consistently score on that Iron defense. That Iron defense, the Iron Curtain, I mean, it's legit. When you can get people inside the 5 and consistently turn them away from the end zone, your defense is pretty good. It's pretty damn stout. San Diego, I honestly think is they're going to have a fun game with Memphis. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game this week. I think Memphis is going to put up some points on San Diego because I think Mettenberger is going to go off, have a coming out party here. Here I am. I'm your number 1 quarterback now. This is what you wanted to see. We're going to light these dudes up on defense. But San Diego, they've got Nelson, they've got Jaquan Gardner, and they've got that receiving core. And that receiving core is good. They're not dropping as many balls as the rest of these teams in this league. They're moving the ball. That offense is gelling. I see San Diego coming away with the win there. All right, then you've got Orlando and Salt Lake City, and this is where my bold prediction of the week is going to come in. My bold prediction of the week, Salt Lake City over Orlando. Oh, why? You want to know why? Okay, well, I'll tell you why. Orlando has not really been tested yet. Who have they played? Who have they played? They've played Memphis, they've played Atlanta, and they've played San Antonio. 3 of the worst defenses in this league they've played. I'm sorry, but I just do not see Orlando holding up to that Salt Lake City defense. They're good against the pass. They're stellar against the run. And let's face it, Salt Lake City, their offense is coming together. Woodrum is throwing the ball to his receivers, and guess what? His receivers are actually catching it. You've got DeMornay Pearsonell. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 90 yards, touchdown, and a 2-point conversion catch. Okay? 8 targets and 8 catches. That's making the most with your opportunities. That is, I'm here to help this team. I am here to show people what I can do. You're giving me an opportunity, and I am taking that opportunity, and I'm running with it. You've got Kenny Bell. 4 targets, 4 receptions. That's 12 passes thrown, all 12 balls caught, moving the chains. The running game is there. They've got a good balance between run and pass, and that offense is starting to click. I mean, once it got going against Arizona last week, it just didn't stop. They just kept on moving the ball. And that defense is just killer. So I see Salt Lake City getting to the quarterback because, I mean, they've got the sack leader on their team for the entire league. And I just see them getting to the quarterback enough to make a big enough difference. I see it being a close game. It's going to be decided by 3 or less. But I see Salt Lake City winning at home to move to 2-2. Orlando is going to have their first loss this week. That's my bold prediction of the week. Hey, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment. I don't know what I'm going to do next week for the power rankings. I went with Godzilla monsters this week because I know about Godzilla monsters, and we'll see what we can do. Give me some suggestions, and the one that gets the most likes, I will definitely I'll do that one as long as I know what you're talking about. So until then, keep tuning into those AAF games. Support your team. Don't jump ship. Don't be that guy. Pick your team. Stick with them. Let's see this thing succeed. We're all having a lot of fun here. And I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.